Good evening. Welcome to Truth Seekers. My name is Mike Fishkin. Jay Saylor is fighting the bug tonight, so he's not going to be here. But Dave Patillo is with us once again. And we're going to be, by the way, it's March 8th for those of you in the Portland area, Saturday night, so you guys can call in live if you're watching us now on those two telephone lines that are up there. And we're going to be picking up where we left off a little bit from last week. Last week we were talking about consequences of evolution. We talked a little bit about Nazism, communism. Both of them foundational premises were atheism, evolutionism, and that we are evolving, especially with Nazism with the Aryan race, which is interesting, a similar term that's used by the demons that are channeled through channelers for the New Age movement. So we're going to be, picking up on some consequences there in a little bit. The first section we're going to end, it's just a 4.5-minute clip we're going to be showing in a couple of minutes. And it ends with a straw man's argument, the typical argument that a lot of evolutionists like to state that, educational system's going to fall apart if you question Darwinian evolution, Dave. Right. And we were talking about that a little bit before. And it's a straw man argument because most creation scientists who teach science or intelligent design protagonists who like to who believe that intelligent design has the vast amount of evidence behind it with hardly anything, no facts really behind evolution going from one species to another or from nothing, no life to life. They don't want, in the secular schools, they don't want intelligent design or creationism taught in secular schools by secular teachers who don't know what they're talking about. They just want the freedom to question the obvious glaring omissions in Darwinian, neo-Darwinian teaching.
Right.
And the other side likes to change the argument around. And maybe you read The Oregonian this week, and this is a great example of it. It's the same educational establishment, by the way. This was, let's see, Thursday, March 6th, 2008, two days ago. And they had this article on how great, let's see, it was on the Metro section, English as a proficient language. And they say more non-native students in Oregon are succeeding after the state goes to a new teaching style. And they mention new about 6 times in the article, this new teaching style. Well, the new teaching style is really the old teaching style. They went to a teaching style where they were attempting to teach people English, young students, how to write, improve their grammar, by reading to them and not teaching them the way sentences should, adverbs should go here, prepositions should go there. This is the way you spell certain words with a little memorization, the way they did it for a couple of hundred years, hundreds of years really. And they wanted to go away and do something new, and it's been an abject failure for, the last 20 years or so. So now they're coming out with something, this is new, and they're doing great, they say. And now they say it takes, in 5 years, they can get 39% of the students who are learning English as a second language, immigrants, and 39% of them in 5 years will be proficient. Well, guess what happened in California? It took the voters of California to say, cut it out, folks. And they had a vote, and they demanded it be done in 1 year with immersion in the classrooms. And they got those same much better results, actually, in 1 year than they're getting in 5 to 7 years here. Why would they do that? Well, you get 5 to 7 times much pay over the years. There's more money being paid out for English as a second language. So there's more money going to the educational system. That's where some of our money is going. It's a waste. And it's a straw man argument. And to make the argument that, wow, we didn't have that good a teaching background to do this, or we didn't have the methods. Now we're going to a great new method when it's really the old method. And you hear this stuff all the time, and it's just
So it's the same kind of flawed thinking?
Yeah, like evolution, the same kind of stuff we were talking about for evolution design, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. We're going to show a 4.5-minute segment of film with Roger Oakland, and then we'll be back to take your phone calls if you'd like to call in and talk to us. And we'll see you then in 4.5 minutes.
Many have embraced evolution. Since I have become a creationist and then a Christian, I have been following the agenda to advance evolution. I'm going to show you a few of the books that I have collected. Books like this, Scientists Confront Creationism, a series of essays edited by Laurie Godfrey. Or a book entitled Fallacies of Creationism. Another, Abusing Science, the Case Against Creationism. Here's a book called Evolution and the Myth of Creationism, a basic guide to the facts in the evolution debate. Or a book by a British author, Richard Dawkins, The Blind Watchmaker, Why the Evidence of Evolution Reveals a Universe Without Design. And what do these books say? Well, pretty well the same thing. People who believe in God are narrow-minded religious bigots who are trying to push science back into the Dark Ages, they say. And they have all the same kinds of arguments and attempts to support evolution. Here's Science and Creationism, a view from the National Academy of Sciences. As historic representatives of the scientific profession and designated advisor to the federal government in matters of science, the Academy states unequivocally that the tenets of creation science are not supported by scientific evidence, that creationism has no place in the science curriculum at any level, and that its proposed teaching would be impossible. This is a more recent version put out by the National Academy of Sciences, teaching about evolution and the nature of science, in which they state, evolution is the central organizing principle that biologists use to understand the world. To teach biology without explaining evolution deprives students of a powerful concept that brings great order and coherence to our understanding life. Science Framework for California Public Schools, kindergarten through grade 12 states. In order to teach life science, earth science, or astronomy, evolution should be a fundamental central concept of the curriculum. Evolution, which Darwin described as descent with modification, is the central organizing principle of life science. And finally, here's a publication put out by the American Skeptics Association, authored by Michael Shermer. It's called 25 Creationist Arguments and 25 Evolutionist Answers. And the goal was to place this publication into the hands of every science teacher in North America. And there you will notice two hands holding onto a church, and the church is being stuffed into a box labeled science. Science, of course, representing evolution, the church creation. You see, this picture really describes this agenda to suppress the creation movement, to advance evolution without opposition. And by the way, this agenda is the same in the UK and other parts of the Western world. I travel a lot around the world. Wherever I go, I find that there's opposition to the creation movement. Here, for example, when I was in Northern Ireland in 2002, there was a great debate going on because there were some teachers in a school in England, Gateshead, who were presenting an alternative to evolution. Well, actually, they were simply challenging evolution. And it was in the news headlines. Last week, scientists, philosophers, and church leaders condemned Emmanuel City Technology College in Gateshead for promoting creationism. Secular campaigners called on ministers to ban teaching of creationism in the state-funded schools, warning that failure to do so would allow every crackpot religious group to start peddling their own mad fantasies in schools. The senior staff at Gateshead have delivered a series of lectures giving teachers tips on how to question the theory of evolution. Well, what's wrong with that? Isn't that what science is all about? Aren't we supposed to be able to challenge? Well,